Hey everybody, I'm SARA WISEMAN. Today we're talking about the idea, is intuition spiritual? Intuition is a spiritual path you can travel on the road of intuitive learning, taking courses and teachings and learning different skills. And if you travel this road deeply and with humility, you will end up spiritually awake. It is just what happens when you are in direct connection for any length of time over time. Conversely, the spiritual path leads to intuition. If you travel on the path of spiritual growth long enough, doing practices of meditation, prayer, renunciation, ritual, no matter which religion or practice you do, you will end up opening your intuitive self. Consciousness is the result of intuition. Intuition is the result of consciousness. So this message has been coming to me, gosh, from the beginning, because there was this fear when I began this work that intuition was either not real, or it was scary, or it was evil, or it was not allowed, or that somehow psychic development or intuitive development were not in alignment with a spiritual way of life. And especially, some religions, say that you can't do any of these psychic development practices, or you can't do any of these intuitive practices. And whenever we look at belief systems, we do have to look at the way of the culture that was the culture that existed when the belief system was created. So at the time when many of the major religions were being created, the power structures were such that there was a lot invested in the religious organization retaining the power over the spiritual teachings, the spiritual understanding. And so this hierarchy was created that only the gurus, only the priests, only the top people could have access to this special spiritual knowledge. And furthering that, at that time of many of these, the major pillar religions, literacy was not widely available to everybody. Like, nobody had literacy. Nobody had smartphones. Nobody was texting each other. No one was exchanging this idea group that we work on now. So this idea that knowledge is only for a few. And so obviously these religions, organizations did not want your average person walking around in the forest having a massive spiritual experience. They did not want that person coming forward and sharing what they had learned, because it, took away the roots of the idea of hierarchy, that knowledge was only for a few. What we know now is everybody who wants to can open themselves to spiritual awakening and to intuitive awakening, because again, these are the same thing walked from a different path. Intuition, you study it long enough, you become spiritually awake. Spirituality, you study it long enough, you just automatically become intuitive. I guess this message is for people who are afraid to dive into their intuitive selves, because they do maybe have those old ideas that it's wrong, or it's going to be scary, or there's going to be some problem with the spirit world or departed folk. And if you go seeking danger and drama in the occult world, yeah, you could probably attract that kind of dark forces. The universe is continually made up of the dark and the light. But if you go in as a humble soul, just accepting the oneness that we exist in, just accepting it. You know, sometimes you talk about the non-dual, but I just like the oneness just seems so much easier to understand. It's like we don't need to get all technical about it. You just accept this oneness. So not only are we part of the same collective soul, but it's not just our bodies in this time and place. It extends to all time, space, matter, emotion, vibration, things that we don't understand yet, that we don't have names for yet. All of this is part of oneness. So when you understand, if you believe that, I believe that, if you believe that, then there's really nothing to fear by going in humbly, going in with some kind of reverence and asking to connect with your guides and angels and mentors. That's what's going to happen. And again, you don't have to be the priest or a guru or have some special certification to do this. You just go in and begin to practice. You just begin to go into this gentle trance state. You ask for this to happen. You allow it to come through, and then you repeat that the next day until you sort of get the hang of it. My path has been, I mean, obviously I've done a lot of studying, I've done a lot of teaching, I've done a lot of practicing, but at the beginning, my path was just going into this meditative state and seeing what happened. That's what I would suggest for you. Like, go in with complete curiosity, with this desire for direct connection, and just noticing how things change from there. Thanks for listening.